All right, what is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday, and thank you for joining me on this podcast. And without further ado, like I always say, I want to thank you guys for your support, and for you guys always just watching these podcasts and tuning in. I believe we're on episode 20. And my goal when I made this series was to get to 21 episodes. We are officially one episode away from my big goal, which is awesome. But again, guys, we're going to dive into this podcast today, and I didn't want to take up too much of your time. But what I wanted to talk about today, and to whoever is listening to this, is something that's really important, and that's when life gets hard and when things get hard. And what I titled this video is "When It Gets Tough." The reason I titled the video "When It Gets Tough" is because there's so many times in life where things get hard. That can be relationship, that can be friendship, that can be business, that can be career, that can be just doing the repetitive action of life every day, that can be being a parent, being a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a spouse, whatever. Whenever something is worth something, it is typically never easy. And trust me, I totally know and get what it's like to pursue something and do something that is extremely, extremely hard. You guys know, you guys who have been watching me know I've had my business for 5 years now, or I'm sorry, for 2 years now, and been in this business for 5 years. And it is always a challenge. It is always hard. And that's what makes it so much more rewarding, is that it is challenging and it is hard. So I guess, guys, what I'm trying to say here, when the first kind of lesson is when it gets really tough, reflect on how far you have come. There was a point in my life, guys, where I was like, oh, I want to get to, this goal and that goal and this goal and that goal. And I have hit all those goals, and I still am hitting those goals every single day. Some days are better than other days. Some weeks are better than other weeks. That's just how life works. You can't always be consistently ascending. But when I have those moments where I'm like, oh, this is really getting tough, I always kind of think back and remember where I've come from, how much adversity I've overcome, how much problems I've solved, and how many problems I have overcome. Because the fact of the matter is this, guys, is that those problems are always going to be there. You're always going to be going through something. You're always going to be getting beat down by life. You're always going to be hit with basically adversity. And the question for you guys is, how do you overcome that adversity? And how do you become better from it? And when it does get tough and it does get overwhelming, like, holy crap, the walls are caving in, reflect on how far you've come and how much you've accomplished. You can do anything and everything as long as you set your mind to it. The second lesson here, guys, is it's ups and downs. When life gets tough, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. And what I've really, really, really noticed is just to try and kind of just stay stable. Because the fact of the matter is that the storm is always going to be there. There's always going to be another storm. There's always going to be an uphill climb. There's always going to be something going on. You know what I mean? And then there's always going to be really, 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 really awesome mountaintops. You're climbing up the hill, you get to the mountaintop, you get that award, you get that raise, you get that friendship, you get that relationship. Great, that's awesome. Now that's where the work starts. So the second lesson here, guys, especially when life gets tough, is to understand that it's full of ups and downs. There's going to be moments where you're going to be able to go full steam ahead and just to be able to crush everything. And there's going to be other moments where you're like, oh, this is really, really tough, guys. I don't know if I can do it. And the answer is you definitely can do it. But you have to be willing to dig deep, and you have to be willing to put yourself in a level of saying, hey, this might not be comfortable now, but I know I'm going to be very thankful I did this later on. I know this is all going to be worth it at the end of the day. So again, guys, the life is full of those ups and those downs, and that is okay. My biggest advice to you, though, is just don't get too caught in the high and don't get too caught in the low. You can be at your highest of highest some days, and then you can be at your lowest of low the other days. And that is totally fine, and that is totally normal. That happens a lot. But what you have to do is just stay consistent. And guess what? When you're consistent, there's going to be a lot of ups and there's going to be a lot of downs. But again, guys, the second lesson here is there's always going to be ups and there's always going to be downs. Don't get too caught up with either or. Just try to pursue your passion, pursue your goal, pursue whatever you're setting out to do in this life, and it will be worth it. And the final lesson I have here, guys, is the most important one, and that is to never give up. Yeah, there's times in my life, guys, in business where I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm like, I need a day off. I'm like, I need something. And days off and resting is fine. There's nothing wrong with days off and resting. But I'm talking about giving up and saying, okay, I'm going to fold in the towel and then pursue something else. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. That is an absolute non-negotiable for me. And giving up is an absolute non-negotiable. And the reason why it's a non-negotiable is because I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of you guys feel this way. I could never look at myself in the mirror and say, ugh, I'm giving up today. Ugh, I'm done today. Ugh, I'm not going to put my best foot forward. No matter how crappy I feel, no matter how great I feel, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pursue my dream. I'm going to pursue my goal. I'm going to give this life everything I have. And guess what? I might fail, but at least I don't give up. There's a really, really good quote. I don't remember who it's by, but someone who kind of went on the lines of, succeeding and success and all these things. And like, if you're worried about the price of success, just wait till you get the bill of regret. And I thought that was such a good quote because success is hard, work is hard, life is hard. And if you give up and do something that's very mediocre or something below your means or something that you're maybe capable of doing more, that is the bill of regret. And I'm telling you guys, I've been there before not too long ago when I, was done football, I was done the army, I was kind of in limbo, and it was a great transition phase for me. But leaving those things to pursue my passion was so worth it. But also at the same time, I was like, oh, I'm like, did I make the right move? And obviously I did. But at the same time, too, it goes both ways. You can feel really good one day, not so good the next day. My point being is that you just can never, ever, ever give up. Because if you give up, you're going to be regretting it for the rest of your life. I'm telling you right now, I've had certain things where obviously I'm so young, I don't regret anything yet. But there's certain things where I'm like, oh, I could have course corrected there and made a better decision. But again, guys, the first lesson is to reflect on how far you've come. The second one is, go through the ups, go through the downs. Just don't get too caught in either or. And just to never, ever give up because this life is amazing and it is so worth living and it's full of opportunity. You just have to be willing to go out there and take it. I again want to thank you guys all for tuning into the podcast today, and I want to thank you for all the support. Remember, when times get tough, when things get tough, that is okay. That is normal. That is a test of your character. That is a test of your behavior, and you can go through anything and everything. Just put your mind to it, and you guys will be successful. I want to thank you guys for supporting the podcast and supporting me. We're about to hit episode number 21, and we'll see if I continue to keep doing this. But no matter what, I want to thank you guys so much for just tuning into these podcasts and being a part of my every week because this is a great kind of building block, if you will, for the week. Have a great, great week, guys. Remember, keep God first. Fitness is the way forward, and let's keep working. All right, see you guys.